What's going on, everybody? It is Luke Beller with the Sideline Scoop, and today I'm going to be breaking down the Packers versus the Houston Texans Week 7 matchup to sort of give my prediction and some thoughts on this game and what I think we can expect during this game. So, of course, the Packers had a tough loss last week, as I talked about in my other video, losing 38-10 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and honestly, our team just sort of fell apart after Aaron Rodgers threw those two picks. But I do think that this is a game that we can really bounce back from. The Packers in the past have been really good when they've taken big losses. Remember last year, whenever we played the 49ers and got destroyed after our bye week. Last week, we came back and beat the Giants by 20 points or something like that. So I think that this is going to be that kind of game for the Packers. I think they sort of got woken up a little bit. Aaron Rodgers sort of talked about that in an interview. They just sort of need to be basically, sort of reality checked, something like that, to where they can be ready for what's to come in the future. And if we take a look at this Houston Texans team, their defense is one of the worst in the NFL. They've been allowing about 423 yards per game, about 30.3 points per game. And last week, I don't know if you saw the Texans versus the Titans game. It was a really close game. The Titans barely pulled it off in overtime. Derrick Henry ran all over the Texans. But Ryan Tannehill, they allowed him to go 30 for 41, 364 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So if Ryan Tannehill is able to do that against the Houston Texans, I can't even imagine what Aaron Rodgers can do, considering he's a much greater talent, no question about it. And so the fact that the Packers are playing this bad of a defense, if we do poorly in this game on offense, the offensive side of the ball, there's definitely a lot to be worried about because this defense just hasn't been good at all, and they've been surrendering a crazy amount of points. And so I do think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great game, and I really think the running backs could have a great game in this one. This is also one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL. Derrick Henry last week had 212 rushing yards, and so I really think that this is going to be a game for Aaron Jones to come in, and Jamal Williams as well, because they've both been utilized by this Packers team and really just take control of this game. And Aaron Jones last week, I think he had about 10 carries for 15 yards, and that Buccaneers defense, honestly, they're probably top 5, maybe, top 3 defense in the NFL, especially when it comes to that front 7, that run defense. We just couldn't get anything going. Any run outside just completely shut off. Aaron Jones only having 15 rushing yards, considering how well he's done the rest of the season. It just shows just how good that Buccaneers team is. Of course, we did get down, and we couldn't really rely on the run much after that. But I do think that Aaron Jones going to have a great game. Jamal Williams going to have a great game. And maybe we'll even see some A.J. Dillon in this game. Who knows? Because we saw him last week a little bit, 1 or 2 plays. And he honestly looks really good. So that's, of course, a good thing to see. And if we take a look at this Texans offense with Deshaun Watson, last week they showed us that they can be dangerous. Deshaun Watson last week, 28 for 37, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So our defense is going to need to play very well against this Texans team. The fact, though, that this Houston Texans defense is so bad, I think the Packers will put up lots of points. So I don't think this defense needs to hold them to a small amount of points. I think we can still get away with letting some points up. Of course, I hope we don't see that. But this Packers defense last week and the past couple weeks just hasn't looked really good. One area where we really need to improve, I think, is sort of our pass rush, because I got these stats here. Let's see if I wrote them down. I think I did write them down. But it looks like our pressures, basically the pressure that we're getting on opposing quarterbacks, is down a lot from last year. Last year we were averaging about 19 pressures per game, and this year we're only averaging about 10 per game. So this Packers front line really needs to improve and get some pressure on the quarterback, and I think that's one way you can stop Deshaun Watson. Of course, he can run around and scramble. He's great on his feet, but it would be great to see Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith come in this defensive line, really just bring pressure to Deshaun Watson, because I think that was one key of the last game, was the fact that Aaron Rodgers got pressured like crazy. We couldn't really hold up against that Buccaneers defensive line, whereas on the other hand, Tom Brady just had all the time in the world. And so we really need to bring the pressure onto Deshaun Watson in this game. And I think that if we do that, I think that we can definitely, have a chance. I think we have a great chance against this team. Honestly, I really do think we're going to, have a great game. But this offense is pretty dangerous. The only thing is their running offense, not great. I think they're averaging 85 yards per game right now. So really, I don't think there's much to worry about in that area. They have David Johnson, who hasn't really looked like his former self. A few years ago being on the Cardinals, he had, one of those monster seasons. But since then, he's been a little bit quiet, a little bit silent, and hasn't really done much up to this point for this Houston Texans offense. And it's going to be an interesting matchup between, of course, these receivers and our cornerbacks because they have Will Fuller had a great game last week. Brandon Cooks is still good. So Joe Alexander, and hopefully we'll have Kevin King back this week. I haven't seen news on him yet, but hopefully we will have him back. We did have Josh Jackson play a lot of snaps last week. He was okay. He had a few good tackles in the open field, but there were a couple balls that he got beat on. So hopefully Kevin King can be back, and we can see some more from him in this upcoming week. But those are basically the main keys I wanted to talk about in today's video. Make it a short little overview today. But I do predict the Packers to win this one. Let's see what I think the score should be. I mean, the fact that the Texans are giving it 423 yards per game, I think the Packers could put up a lot of points. Don't want to jinx us, but let's say Packers 34, Texans 17. That's my prediction. Packers 34, Texans 17. We'll see if it holds up. All right, so that's going to be all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.